please.
Ken Walker. John Doe.
Here.
Ron Putnam.
Here.
James McMahon. Gary Holsey. Clint Steiger.
Here.
Alrighty, changes or additions to the agenda. Understand we have one item to add for waste management.
Yeah.
And we put that, does anybody object to having that be first on the agenda so they can get out of here? Any other additions or changes to the agenda? Alrighty, and the first item on the agenda is waste management. Laura Motion.
Where do you want me to go?
Oh, actually, we didn't bring up our podium.
Use my outside voice, that's fine. Hi, thanks for letting me go first.
We'll send you the bill.
You have some information in your packet about a CPI change that happens annually, and given it's been a year already since we went through all this and took over the billing and the customer call handling, we are now back to a September 1st date where we need to apply a new CPI change. Last year, just a little history, when we took over the customer call handling and the billing, the city also opted to not pass on the CPI increase from 2012 to its customers, and instead paid for that out of the administrative fee utility tax. So there was also, January 1st, a King County disposal increase, which is kind of a long story. We're required to pass that through. It's all your interlocal agreement with where you agree your material goes to. So there was an increase of 10.25% to the disposal portion only of the rate structure. And the customers did receive that change. There's three options that you can look at. Option 3 being probably the cleanest way to make a change is applying the CPI of 1.22% to the rate, the collection fee portion of the rate in that gold column on the Excel spreadsheet. And the rate is broken down into a disposal portion and a collection portion. And if you apply the CPI to that collection fee and add back in the disposal, you'll end up with the rates that show under option 3, and it's no subsidization anymore. It's passing on the increase to the ratepayer, and it's adjusting your administrative utility tax back to where it was before you subsidized the 2012. Then there's also the CPI applied to that administrative utility tax. So that gives you a new annual total of $138,704, which was on the memo portion. The option 2, and I'm sorry this gets confusing a little bit, but option 2, you could continue to choose to subsidize the 2012 rate. And that was the $17,100 that you had deducted from your administrative fee last year. And you can apply the CPI to the collection fee portion in the blue or green columns because that didn't reflect the increase. Is this making any sense? Okay. And apply the disposal to it, and you come up with a new rate structure that shows under that option 2 on the almost the far right column. So you can see how it affects each one of the rates in the Excel spreadsheet. Then the first option is to not pass on the 2012 CPI or to pass on the 2013 CPI to your customers. Continues to subsidize both of those, the $17,100 from 2012 and an additional $4,747 for 2013, which changes your overall administrative fee. It reduces it down. So really, we're offering you the option to kind of select what it is you'd like to do, given kind of everything that's gone on when we first took over the billing and the customer call handling and the CPI and billing, the rate structure that you had in place, how you want to present that out to your citizens, and what you need on your end with the administrative fee portion of it that comes back from us to you. And we need to, whatever your decision is, would become effective September 1st of this year. So if you look on the spreadsheet, a customer with a 32-gallon can service currently is paying $18.48 a month. If you go to the option number 3 and eliminate any kind of subsidization, the rate goes to $18.92, which is the highest of the 4 options. And the option 2 is still a partial subsidization. The rate goes to $18.57. And then option 1, still continuing with full subsidization, the rate goes to $18.48. So it's not like huge numbers, but we are in the last year of the contract, so this would be the last CPI under the current extension that's in place. And then, of course, you have other options to go out to bid, negotiate a new contract, or use another extension depending on what you want to do. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from council? All right.
Okay.
Council's pleasure. Any discussion? Any preference on which option we would move forward? Guess we'll move all three forward for
Yeah, we have a
discussion.
let the citizens speak, see what they got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, AHBL LAG Agreement West Valley Highway Road Project. Ken?
The AC come over here and talk so that maybe you can hear me. Last month we went, in June, towards the end of June, we went through the advertising process for design and engineering for West Valley Highway for our improvement from 1st Avenue northwest, to County Line Road. And we went through the interview process with WashDOT and with the mayor there, and decided to give the contract to AHBL. And Sean Comfort's here tonight to answer any questions you have about the flag agreement. This is a draft that he's presented. The final one is supposed to be here tomorrow. So if you have any questions on it, you can ask him, or any other questions for me, I will be happy to answer them.
Questions from council? Can we get Sean to give a brief summary of the agreement and the relevant provisions?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As Ken indicated, this is a lake agreement for the King County portion of West Valley Highway, so County Line Road to 1st Avenue Northwest. The leg agreement is a local agency guideline agreement, is a standard WashDOT agreement, so I know it's kind of a thick agreement. A lot of it is WashDOT boilerplate that the city and the consultant is not really able to change, so you'll find a lot of it is very standard. On this project, we will have several sub-consultants working with us. We'll have a geotechnical sub-consultant, a traffic sub-consultant, a cultural resources sub-consultant, and a wetlands or environmental consultant in terms of potential wetland areas. So this contract will provide for preliminary engineering services, essentially up to 60% design, as well as SEPA, NEPA or the environmental process for the project, right-of-way acquisition funds, final plans, specifications, and estimates, and construction management services. Those are not funded, nor are the construction funds. Our goal is to get through this process, and in conjunction with this, is work with the city on potential other grant funding for West Valley Highway. Also, Mayor Geyer has contacted the mayor of Algona. I've also been in touch with the mayor, and I've asked the mayor to be able to work with Grain Osborne, who just completed some design and some improvements on West Valley from First Avenue North to the north. So there's a gap between where these two projects are happening, but the goal is to create some momentum between several agencies and perhaps even King County. Hopefully elevate this to possibly one of the regional projects we can get some support at the state level. So that's the long-term goal. When this particular project is done, quote unquote, you will have the preliminary design process will be finalized, and you will have a 60% estimate that will look at the entire project, including right-of-way construction, etc. So you'll have a good basis to go forward to obtain additional funding as well for not only this stretch of the road, but also potentially other stretches as well. Questions?
The money for this project, where is that money coming from?
These are two sources. There are city funds involved, approximately $47,000 in city funds, and then there are contingent STP funds, which were allocated to the city earlier part of this year in the amount of approximately $153,000. So the total allocation is $200,000.
For anybody in the audience who's interested, there is a map of the project posted in the hallway near the Public Works window if you want to see the scope of this. I did have one question. The field exploration boring, you've got 3 borings through the pavement and 5 along the shoulders. And when I look at West Valley, and some of it's reasonably good and some of it's really awful, is that enough boring to really characterize all of it, or is that something?
Well, I think what we're trying to do is do a couple things. What the corings will do with the existing paved road surfaces tell us what's out there. So tell us what the section is. Also tell us what's underneath the section, what kind of soils, how they're performing. The other borings along the region of the road to be designed, we want to get a feel for. Most of those will be on the west side. We want to get a feel for what's happening on the west side. You know, as you're aware, there are potential seeps on the hillside, some other issues which might be driving the undulation of the road. So the goal is to try to get enough work in there where we can not only identify the problem, but be able to be fairly certain in terms of the design solution. Now, there is that potential after that work is done, the geotechnical engineer might come back and recommend other avenues. We need to first see what we have there, what we don't have, relative to moving forward. But the goal is to have enough work done where we feel pretty comfortable our estimate is fairly close when it comes to ultimate construction of that piece.
Any other questions for council?
The only other question on this side, remember from the city in our budget, whether we have the money, $47,000 in our budget for this capital.
And I can answer that question. Last year, council passed a resolution allocating $47,000.
That's all I wanted. I'm more talking out
Sure.
so people can have it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. What's council's pleasure?
Move forward.
Okay, next item, execution of a partnership agreement between SHIBA, Washington State Office of the Insurance Commissioner, and the City of Pacific.
So, I have this on the agenda. We don't have somebody over at the Community Services right now to present this. But basically, it's an agreement between the statewide health insurance benefits advisors and the state of Washington with the insurance commissioners, but they want to maintain the partnership that they have with us where they come in and do
provide the citizens with some information and assistance and advocacy of their rights and opinions of health insurance, healthcare access, and prescription drugs. So basically, it's just moving forward with the contract for them to come in. They do the background check of the people that come in and meet with our citizens, all the volunteers, our background checks, and just basically providing a service for the seniors so that
Questions from council? Council pleasure. Next, execution of an accessible services vehicle agreement between King County and the City of Pacific.
this is basically renewing our agreement, and I did have Betty check with our insurance carrier to make sure our current insurance does insure the vehicle, the proper things that they do need on the accessible span, but basically this is just renewing the current contract that we have with King County with the access span.
Any questions from council on the access band contract?
Yeah. So, and I apologize, I didn't take the time to review the timeline. The amendment to the agreement is simply striking the insurance provision that, so instead of them having specific requirements of the insurance that we have in the vehicle, we're just, King County is just being less prescriptive about what kind of insurance we have to have on the van.
To ensure that everything is very fine.
Any further questions from council? Council's pleasure. South County Area Transportation Board Agreement.
So once again, this is moving forward our agreement for the South County Area Transportation Board. This costs us $100 a year to belong to this. I don't think anybody's been attending this meeting for the past year, but you will see the mayor at these meetings on the second Tuesday of every month, attending these from here forward. So it's my recommendation that council move it forward and we keep our seat at the table.
Any questions from council on South County Transportation Board? Council's pleasure. Move forward.